Hey, what's up everyone? Danny Lightning back with another video. Today we are going to be talking about Titans, which ones are good, which ones to avoid, and which Titans are 100% amazing. So this is our new Titan guide. Things do change in the game, so this guide will be valid until the next big round of rebalances or reworks hit. I am going to make a chapter for each Titan, that way you can skip from Titan to Titan if there's a specific one you're interested in knowing about. Hey, skip to that Titan, or you can just watch the whole thing and we'll talk about every single Titan that exists in the entire game, and there's a bunch of them, so let's get to it. But if you happen to buy something over on the Murometz web shop, don't forget to hit the supported creators button and use code DannyLightning. Sometimes you'll get some discounted prices and even some free stuff over there on the web shop as well. There's a link in the video's description, but let's get to the Titan guide. Now, if we look at the Titans you can actually get with resources, we've got Kid, we got Arthur, and we got the Ming. Those are the very first three Titans. They're very easy to get, but the truth is, they pretty much all suck. Avoid these Titans. The Kid has a lot of disadvantages. I know some people are going to complain, but the Kid is a starter Titan. They give you this for free for a reason. It is not very good once you get up in the Champion League. In the lower league, sure, you can play this thing, but when you go up in the higher leagues, you are going to want to replace it. Arthur is cool. He's got a big, strong shield, but the truth is, Arthur is not that good, and the Ming is very squishy. It dies so fast, people will shoot that thing out of the sky like it doesn't even exist. Avoid these three Titans. Next, we have the Nodens, the Minos, and the Sharanga, and these three can be bought with resources, meaning these Titans are not hard to get. So let's start off talking with Nodens. If you build this thing correctly, you get the right pilot skills, the right modules, the right weapons on this, it can be extremely good. Now, this is a 100% support Titan. You're supposed to hide in the back, stay behind cover, and focus on healing your teammates, and it's great for that. Now, the cool thing is, when somebody comes at you, this now has enough durability to defend itself, as long as you're not going up against a Mauler, because those will win no matter what. Mauler is the top of the line Titan. It will destroy everything. But if you're going up against anything other than a Mauler, the Nodens can now hold its own, and it's an excellent support, excellent healer. I think this is a great choice if you're playing on a good team, but you need to have a good team in front of you in order for this thing to be any good. If you're playing on a crappy team, well, you know this thing's not really going to help you out. But if you're playing on a good team, Nodens is very helpful, and I do like it. Don't love it, but I really like it. On a scale of 1 to 10, I am going to give the Nodens a 6, just because there are better choices, even though it's actually really good. Next, we have the Minos. This is a very fun Titan to play. It's a little bit hard to play, though. Not everybody can get hang of timing the abilities and using the abilities correctly. You can run in, you can run out. When this goes into the ability that has the shield, if somebody shoots the shield, it redirects a lot of damage back to that player, and it beats the crap out of them. So the shield on this thing is super strong, and you can easily run back and get away from people. So I think if you build this one correctly, and you play this one correctly, it can be really good. Again, you need the right modules and the right pilot skills and the right weapons on this for it to be good. But I think this is a nice Titan. It's not going to be one of my top recommendations. I do rate this a little bit higher than the Nodens right now, so we'll give this guy maybe a 7. It's a good Titan. It's very fun, but I think there are better choices out there. So let's move on to the next Titan. Next up, we have the Sharanga, and as always, there are a few people that can play the heck out of this Titan, but most people suck with this Titan. Most people don't like it. The few people who really get good with this and enjoy it are awesome with it, but the truth is, I'd say 80 to 90% of the people who get one of these hate it, and they suck with it. So I really do not recommend this Titan. I'm personally going to give it a 4 because it's not for everybody. It is just one of those Titans that I would say you probably want to avoid. You got to put a lot of resources and time into leveling one of these up, and sometimes real money if you're buying stuff. And I don't want to see somebody put a bunch of money into something, or time or resources into something that they're probably going to hate. I mean, I'm going to tell you there's going to be a few Sharanga players disagreeing with me in the comments, but It's not for everybody. I'm telling you right now, this Titan is not for everybody. It takes the right person to play this. So I give it a low score. You know, if you're a really good Sharanga player, I would still maybe only give it like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. But personally, I give it a very low score because I know most people aren't going to like it. Most people play it wrong. Most people misuse it. And the one ability, if you use it at the wrong time, it actually hurts your team and does not help your team. So it's not a great choice for most people. All right, let's move on. All right, so next we have the Murometz, and I hate to say it, but this Titan absolutely sucks. As soon as it goes up in the air and it does its thing, it's awesome, but it loses stealth, right? It goes up in the air and it's got stealth, but right before it lands, the stealth goes away, and everybody just shoots it out of the air and it dies. It has no survivability these days in the higher leagues. If they would give this Titan the stealth back on landing, it would actually be a really good Titan, but people just shoot this thing out of the air like it doesn't even exist. So, in my opinion, do not buy a Murometz. I would give this a Titan a 3 out of 10 because almost every time you go up, you're lucky if you get 1 or 2 abilities in before somebody shoots you out of the sky when you're landing. So, I say avoid this thing. It is not very good. Next, we have the Luchador. You can still buy this Titan with game resources. It's a little more expensive than most of them, but this is a really, really, really good Titan. If you build it correctly, you get the right pilot skills, you get the right modules on it, this thing is awesome. It looks like you only have to save up 2,000 platinum right now to buy this, which if you play the game enough, you know, if you put a lot of time into the game, you won't have that hard of a time getting 2,000 platinum to buy this thing. And I'm going to tell you what, this is probably the absolute best Titan you can get right now that you can actually buy with game resources that's not going to cost you real money to buy. So get a Luchador, guys. Save up your platinum, buy a Luchador, get a couple of Titan repair amplifiers to throw on it. You want to have at least 2 of those on every single Titan because that's what makes Titans survive. Get a pilot. Put all the durability skills on the pilot and those modules, and this thing will be a complete beast on the battlefield. Again, it's going to have a hard time standing up against the Maulers, but for a Titan you can actually get with your resources, I am currently going to give this one a score of a 10. Now, in the grand scheme of things, I would give it more like an 8.5 because the Maulers are going to probably wreck your Luchador because the Mauler is the top Titan right now, but if it wasn't for the Mauler, this would still have a 10. I mean, this is really, 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 really good for what it is. Get the Luchador if you're buying a Titan with resources. That's my opinion. This is the one you want. Moving on to the Heimdall. Heimdall is a very fun Titan. Basically, if I'm not playing a Luchador, if I'm not playing a Mauler, I'm probably playing my Heimdall. It's not the best Titan, but you can buy this with resources. It's really fun. It's really good. This thing just got a really big buff. It's a little bit confusing. It's a little bit complicated. A lot of people get confused by how the ability works on this thing, but once you understand it, this is a really good Titan. So in the grand scheme of things, I would give this about an 8.5 out of 10. Of course, it's going to get wrecked by Maulers most of the time. So again, Mauler is going to destroy everything, but if you build this right, it's a awesome, very fun Titan. It's not as good as the Luchador, but if you're going to have 2 Titans, build yourself a Luchador and then maybe build yourself this for like a secondary Titan so you have some variety to play. I absolutely love the Heimdall right now. Not the best, but dang it, it's really good. And it's really fun. So let's move on to the next Titan. Next, we have the Indra. I'm going to give this a score of about a 9. I think the Indra is super, super awesome. It does take a little bit of skill for the ability timing. If you get the ability timing down on the Indra, you can really do super well with this. This actually stands up the Maulers if you know how to play it, right? The Maulers are probably going to take you out at the end, but this has more of a chance against the Mauler than a lot of robots because it can constantly go into like a phase shift type of thing. So when you're being shot at, you phase shift. And this is just a really good Titan. I think everybody should think about getting one of these. I would say in the grand scheme of things, pretend the Mauler didn't exist. I would give this Titan a 9 out of 10. Most people are going to prefer playing a Luchador over top of this, but This is probably like the second best Titan. This and the Luchador, it's hard to say which one you're going to like better, but most people will like the Luchador better. If you're not building a Luchador, you should probably get this, right? This thing is awesome. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Super fun, but a little bit hard to play. All right, let's move on to the next Titan. Next up, we have the Aether. This is actually a really cool Titan, but I don't really suggest it. It's fun. It's okay, but it's probably going to get its butt kicked by a lot of different things on the battlefield. I would give this Titan maybe about a, I don't know, 6.5, maybe a 7, but there's a lot of reasons why I don't personally play this Titan. Now, I do have every single Titan. They're all built. They're all ready to go. And, well, this one's not really worth your time, in my opinion. There may be a few people out here that just love this and play it well, but it's a really cool Titan. It's a good Titan, but I think there are better choices. I would rather play a Nodens over this, put it that way. Now we're moving on to the Sirius. I think this is a really cool Titan, but it's got some problem. It's so big and it's so wide, it can't fit between certain buildings. It's always getting stuck on places on the map. It's very boring to play, but it's actually a pretty good Titan. It's got nice durability if you build it correctly. It's got good firepower. The abilities are cool, but it's very boring and it has a hard time maneuvering the map. Now, personally, I do recommend building this Titan, but a lot of players don't like it. The majority of people who play this don't care for it. They think it's boring and not any fun, so it's a little hard to recommend something that the majority of people don't really like. So you're probably best off building something else, but this Titan can be good. I would give this about a 7.5 out of 10. If it was able to maneuver around the map a little better, I would give it a higher score, but you know, it's a cool Titan. It's a good Titan, but not really something I recommend just because most people don't enjoy it and they don't like it. So let's move on to the next Titan. Next, we have the Rook, which is actually a very fun Titan to play. It's very good. I'm going to give this one about an 8 out of 10. Like, there's definitely some problems with it. It's not perfect, but it's really good. Like, Luchador, Indra, and Rook are probably 3 of the best Titans out there right now. I think most people are going to have fun playing this. It's just all around really nice. It's not as durable as the Luchador, so honestly, I think you're better off playing a Luchador over this, but if you build the Rook correctly, it's going to be pretty close. Like, I would say if Luchador is up here, the Rook's like here. You know what I mean? It's kind of like one step below like the Luchador and the Indra. It's a little better than like the Heimdall. Even though I love the Heimdall and I do recommend the Heimdall, I think the Rook is a little better than like the Heimdall. Not as good as the Luchador and Indra, but you know, this is definitely something worth getting if you can get it. Of course, this one is not available for credits or game cash or whatever. You have to buy this with real money or pull it out of a data pad or something. But if you have one and you build it right, it's very good. Of course, again, Maulers will wreck pretty much everything. So, yeah, like it a lot. Let's move to the next Titan. Next up, we are going to talk about the Newton. Most people completely dislike this Titan right now. It's got a, I don't know. All I can say about this one is just, It's not for everybody. There may be a few people out there playing it that really like this, but I would have to give this a pretty low score personally. Going by other people's opinions about it, and my opinion about it, I would probably give this thing about a 4 out of 10. I mean, there are a few people out there who like it, and there are some advantages. I mean, it can pick people up for a short time, and then your sniper titans or something like that can shoot it and kill stuff. So it can be helpful to your team if you're playing on a good team and everybody knows what's going on. And you say, hey, I'm about to pick so-and-so up, and then everybody shoots him and tries to take him out. So it can be good to have one of these on your team, but it's not a very good Titan overall. If you're not calling out when you're lifting somebody up and your team is not taking advantage of that, the Titan is terrible. It's pretty much crap. Now, if you're calling out, hey, I'm lifting up so-and-so, and your team decides to take advantage of that, it can actually be a big benefit to have one of these on the battlefield, but your team needs to be very coordinated or it's going to be worthless, right? Your team has to be on board. You got to be on voice comms with your team. So it can be good, but I don't recommend this for 90% of the players out there. Okay, so next up we have the Eiffel. This robot just got rebalanced, and it went from being really awesome to being pretty crappy. It dies very easily. Go up in the air, a lot of things will shoot you out of the sky quickly, especially one of the Titans we're going to talk about a little later. The Sniper Titan just wrecks this thing, but I don't really recommend the Eiffel at this moment. The only thing it really has going for it is it does have 5 weapons, so the amount of firepower is huge. But the durability on this thing is lousy. You go up in the air, you're kind of like a big setting target nowadays. So it's an okay Titan. I would maybe give it a 6 out of 10 right now. It was a 10 out of 10. Now it's maybe like a 6 out of 10. Most people that I know who play this have stopped playing it and moved on to something else. A lot of people have started playing their Luchadors again, or the Indra or something. So that's not a good sign. But in Champion League, this thing will get shot out of the sky by a lot of different things. So I don't recommend the Eiffel currently. It used to be awesome, but now it's kind of eh. Next up, we have the Bedwyr, which is a really cool support Titan. If you like to play support, I think this one is still worth playing. It puts up a shield, and it can protect all of your teammates. I don't really look at it as a brawler or like a close-range fighter. I think it's more of a mid-range fighter and a protector, right? You put up a shield, you stand in front of your teammates, and you try and make sure you protect them. The only problem is there are people who can run shield breakers, and of course the Maulers and the Sniper Titans. The Sniper Titan has an ability that goes through shields. We'll be talking about him in just a minute. And the Sniper Titan can take this guy out in a couple of shots quickly since he's got the shield breaker. So you got to really be aware of what's on the map. I think this is a really cool Titan. I do recommend it. I think this is not for everybody. This is really for people who just want to play support, right? If you want to play support, you'll probably like this. If you want to be like in your face, up close brawler, this may not be your best bet. I mean, it can do that, but I don't think that's where this robot really shines. I think of it more of a protector. I would give this guy about a 7.5 out of 10, only because some people love it and some people hate it. Personally, I would give it more like an 8, maybe an 8.5 for me, but going by my thoughts and everybody else's thoughts, maybe about a 7 or a 7.5. I don't know. It's a good Titan. Like, it's a really good Titan, but it's not for everybody. So keep that in mind. You may or may not like this one if you build it, but if you like playing support, I think you'll like this one. So let's move on to the next Titan. Next, we have the Barsagliere. I'm probably saying that wrong. They give these things crazy names that nobody knows how to spell or pronounce, but this is the Sniper Titan. This thing will obliterate you from all the way across the map. I would give this thing a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. This guy gets a 10. It is top notch. Only problem is this Titan is extremely hard to play. The ability is kind of confusing. It kind of seems like it's backwards from what it should be. Like if you're moving forward, it jumps backwards. If you're moving backwards, it jumps forwards. If you're moving left, it jumps right. It basically does the opposite. So let's just say you want to jump to the right. You got to make sure you all of a sudden press the movement key to the left in order for it to go the other way. You got to be able to think really fast and remember which way it's going to jump. That gets very confusing for a lot of people, and that makes it very hard to play for a lot of people. So there's a lot of people that absolutely hate this thing because the mechanics on this thing are backwards. Now, for me personally, this is a very frustrating, very hard to play Titan, and I don't play it. I get so frustrated and upset trying to play this thing. I've just given up on it. I'm not playing this thing ever. It's terrible to play. It's backwards. It doesn't make sense. You got to have really good coordination, which I don't think I have anymore. I'm not coordinated enough to think fast enough to go which way it's going to jump, and it's always jumping somewhere I don't want it to go, and that's messing things up for me big time. So I've given up on this Titan. But if you can figure out how to play this and you can work the abilities correctly and you can think fast enough, this thing will absolutely obliterate whatever is on the map. This is a very dangerous Titan. This thing and the Mauler are probably the absolute 2 best Titans. Mauler is way too easy to play, and this is way too hard to play in my opinion. But if you don't mind something that's hard to play and you build this thing right, it will just demolish pretty much everything. The ability on this is just brutal. It can one-shot certain robots. You know, 1 or 2 volleys of this will take out just about anything. It's just a crazy, 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 crazy good Titan if you can figure out how to play it. And then next up on the list is the Mauler. This thing pretty much won't die. If you build this correctly, it's almost unkillable. It's a no-skill robot. It's not fair. They need to nerf this thing. It's just way too hard to kill. It's the most overpowered thing I've ever seen. About the only thing that can sometimes stand up against this is the Sniper Titan. Sometimes if you get 1 or 2 of those, you can take out a Mauler pretty quickly with the Sniper Titan. But anything else is going to have a really hard time dealing with this, right? You want to find, like, if you're playing a Rook, when this thing comes at you, it's probably going to have those new shotguns on it. So you want to use the Rook's ability to jump away from it. If you're using another Mauler, you might want to jump away or dash away from it. If you're using a Minos, you might want to save an ability to run away. I mean, there's a lot of Titans that have an ability that will allow you to get away from this thing, and that's really good when playing against this. Generally, it's going to come with those shotguns that do huge amounts of damage up close, and if you can back up a little bit, those shotguns won't do as much damage. So if you got weapons on your Titans that can do damage from a distance, and you can stay back from this thing, that's the best way to play against it. But this thing gets a 10 out of 10. It will destroy everything if you build it right and play it right. But right now, a really good Minos player is probably not going to be able to take this out, but can probably play against it pretty well. I would say the Indra being able to go into those phase shifts can stand a chance against this. The Mauler can stand against this because, you know, a Mauler is another Mauler. The Indra has a chance. I mean, there's a lot of Titans that can fight against this, but this one's almost always going to come out on top. Now, what's really interesting is hard as this is to kill, if you're doing one-on-one versus another Mauler, you guys will sit there for 10 minutes shooting each other, and neither one will die. But if a second Mauler comes and 2 shoot it, for some reason it dies instantly. So there's something weird with those new shotgun weapons. So, you know, this thing has 3 weapons on it. So 3 of the shotgun weapons can't kill it, but if there's 6 of them, it'll take it out like right now, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, you can be over there sitting there with full health, fighting somebody for 5 minutes, a second Mauler comes over and bop, bop, bop. When they both shoot you, you're done. You're just dead. So there's something weird going on there with that, but these are basically unstoppable right now. It's a nightmare on the battlefield. It's it's definitely the best Titan, and it's just craziest thing ever. They need to nerf this. They really need to tone this down. So I wouldn't be surprised within the next update or 2 if they actually do nerf this a little more, because man, it is just too much. It's too powerful. It's not fun to play. It's not fun to play against. It's just a boring robot that won't die, and it is the best Titan in the game. Alright, so there we have it. There's a lot of stuff going on with a lot of Titans. I mean, there's a huge amount of Titans in this game currently. Some of them are really good, some of them are really bad. Those are my opinions and my thoughts on which ones are worth your time. Anyways, I hope you guys liked the video. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. And if you drop down the video's description or the pinned comment, you'll see ways to help support the channel, some links to some game news, and all kinds of really awesome stuff, plus a link to the Warbots web shop where you might find some discounts and all that good stuff. So, thank you for watching. You guys are amazing. Lightning out, and thanks for watching my video.
Thanks for watching my video. I hate to say, but it's time to go. Maybe you could watch another one. That might be really fun. Thanks for watching my video. Thanks for watching my video. Thanks for